They did not come with warships or burning skies. They came quietly, slipping through Earth's atmosphere like falling thoughts, invisible to radar, unheard by the cities sleeping beneath them. The man they chose was not a soldier, not a genius, not a king. His name was Elias Ward, an orbital engineer who preferred broken machines to broken people, a man who fixed satellites by day and watched the stars by night, wondering if anyone else was looking back. When they took him, it was painless. A soft light, a humming pressure, and then the sky was gone. Elias woke beneath a ceiling of living crystal, veins of light pulsing like slow heartbeats. Gravity felt gentle, almost caring. 3 figures stood around him, tall and luminous, their forms unmistakably humanoid yet undeniably not human. Their eyes were large, dark, and ancient, filled with fear and determination in equal measure. They were princesses of the Varelian Accord, the last royal heirs of a civilization that had ruled 3 spiral arms before entropy, war, and biology betrayed them. Their species was dying. For centuries they had conquered worlds, bent stars, mastered physics humanity had not yet named. But they had failed to protect the one thing that mattered most: their future. Their children were born fewer each generation, weaker, unable to survive past infancy. Their genetics had stagnated, perfected themselves into extinction. They had searched the galaxy for a solution. Billions of species were tested, scanned, and discarded. Too fragile. Too incompatible. Too sterile. Then they found Earth. A death world, chaotic and violent, where life adapted not over millennia but within generations. A species that survived plagues, ice ages, radiation, and self-inflicted disasters, and kept breeding anyway. Humans were imperfect, unstable, emotional. Exactly what the Varelians needed. Elias learned all of this through thought, not words. Their language flowed directly into his mind, layered with images and feelings. They told him they had chosen him not at random, but because of his resilience. Orphaned young. Rebuilt his life twice. Survived an orbital accident that should have killed him. Humans called it luck. The princesses called it survivability bias. You will not be harmed, the eldest princess told him, her voice resonating like music through bone. You will be honored. Honored? Elias replied, his voice hoarse. You kidnapped me. We saved our people, another said, younger, sharper. Your consent would have delayed extinction. That was how they justified it. Cold. Logical. Desperate. Elias raged, demanded, threatened. He tried to escape. He failed. The ship was a moving city, its technology grown rather than built, responding to royal blood alone. He was a guest and a prisoner both. Time passed differently aboard the Varelian vessel. Days blurred. His anger burned hot, then cooled into something heavier. The princesses did not treat him as livestock or property. They spoke with him. Learned his customs. Asked about Earth, about love, about why humans kept choosing hope even when logic said surrender. Slowly, against his will, he saw the cracks in their perfection. They were rulers raised to command stars, yet terrified children beneath the crowns, carrying the weight of an entire species on their shoulders. When the first child was born, the galaxy noticed. The infant was strong. Loud. Alive in a way Varelian children had not been for generations. Its hybrid physiology stabilized instantly, human adaptability reinforcing Varelian neurocomplexity. Doctors wept. Scientists recorded. The royal council fell silent. When the second and third children followed, healthier still, panic spread among the neighboring empires. Because humans did not just survive. Humans multiplied. Elias was no longer just a captive. He was a variable no one could control. The princesses, once distant and ceremonial, became something closer to people. They laughed, awkwardly at first. They argued. They watched him with a curiosity that softened into affection, then something deeper they did not have a word for. He taught their children human lullabies. Showed them videos of oceans and forests. Told them stories of Earth heroes who were small, frightened, and stubborn enough to change history anyway. The children grew fast, minds sharp, emotions fierce. They bonded to him not as a genetic contributor, but as a father. That was the moment the galaxy truly understood its mistake. The birth of hybrid heirs triggered ancient treaties and newer fears. Empires demanded access to human genetics. Others demanded Elias himself, alive or dissected. Fleets mobilized. Threats were issued. The Varelian Accord, once feared, was suddenly vulnerable, its future dependent on a single human man and children not yet grown. Elias expected to be traded. Bargained. Sacrificed. That was how galaxies worked. Instead, the princesses stood before the council and did something unprecedented. They abdicated their thrones. Royal blood relinquished power, dissolving centuries of hierarchy in a single act. The accord transformed overnight from empire to protectorate, centered not on domination but preservation. The princesses chose exile over extinction, placing their children, and Elias, beyond political ownership. Why? Elias asked, stunned. You could rule everything again. The eldest princess met his eyes, her voice unsteady. Because you taught us something our ancestors forgot. A future is not something you own. It is something you protect. They fled into uncharted space, pursued by no one brave enough to follow. Over the years that came after, Elias watched a new civilization grow from the ground up. One that argued, failed, adapted, and tried again. One that blended human chaos with Varelian brilliance. Their children became explorers, mediators, engineers who solved problems not by conquest but by creativity. Humanity eventually learned the truth. Not through invasion, but through contact. A hybrid envoy arrived in Earth orbit decades later, carrying Elias's eyes and a Varelian crown worn only as a symbol. The message was simple. Humans were no longer alone. And they were no longer just a species from a small blue planet. They were the answer to a question the galaxy had been too afraid to ask: what happens when survival matters more than pride? The galaxy had once feared humans for their violence, their unpredictability, their refusal to stay down. Now it feared them for something far more dangerous. Their ability to become family, even when taken by force, and turn extinction into legacy.